Thanks for tuning in to GTO Good Old Boys. Buckle up and enjoy the show with your host, Paul Ponder.
Hey y'all, this is Paul Ponder. I'm the host of GTO Good Old Boys, and I have two young folks sitting right across from me, Mr. Cal Lane and Miss Josie Clay. Josie is not married to him yet. She's still checking him out and going to find out if it's going to be worth it or not. But from what I see, by the way they look at one another, it's probably going to be a done deal. So, Josie, we're going to start out with you, if you don't mind. What do you do?
So I am about to start grad school. I'm going to do it online so I can travel with Cal to all of his tournaments, and I'm going to get my degree in marriage and family therapy.
Marriage and family therapy. You're going to help a bunch of folks, and you're going to be busy, I'm sure.
I hope so. I hope I can help a bunch of people.
I bet you can. You sound like you're a very calm young woman.
Thank you.
Now, what made you say I do to Cal, or did he even, did you ask him to marry you, or did he ask you to marry him?
Oh my goodness, I was so shocked when he proposed. I was like, oh,
Tell us about it.
Happening
Tell
right
us about
it. So he picked me up. I thought we were going on a date, and then we were on the boat, and I was like, okay, we're going to go to dinner by boat. And then he took me to one of the islands on Gunnersville, and I was like, what are we doing here? And all of our family was in town because it was the 4th of July. And then he just took me on to the island. There were lights strung everywhere, and I was like, oh my gosh. Whenever I saw the lights, I think I knew what was going on. But yeah, so it's been a great season.
Did he get on his knee?
He did.
You're kidding me. Cal, I am so impressed.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. The most beautiful sunset, too.
I bet it was, and you'll never forget it, will you?
I won't.
And what did you say? Was you afraid she'd say no?
I didn't really know. She had just gotten back from a study abroad trip, so she'd been out of town for, a month over in Europe. And, we had talked about it before she left a little bit on and off. And, we've been together for 4 years, I believe. And I was pretty nervous, to be honest with you. I didn't know what. I said, well, I better do it on the lake, because if she says no, then,
You're
I'm not
going to
be embarrassed. I ain't going to be embarrassed in front of anybody, so at least it'll be out here. I can just drive her back to the house.
There you go. You done had it all planned out, didn't you, son?
Yes,
I should have known coming from Lane. He had it step by step by step.
Yeah.
And, so you were excited, but you didn't have a clue.
I didn't have a clue. It was
Really?
so fun. And since all of our family was in town and my friends were there, and I had no idea. So we ended up all getting together after, and Cal had a surprise party for me.
Wow. Would you have had it if she had said no?
Maybe just me.
Oh, okay. Just you and your tears, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. But the way y'all look at you, I got to tell you one little thing. Me and Cal was up front, and we were talking, and I noticed his head just popped around. He got to looking, big old grin come up on his face. I'm sitting there talking to him, and he's ignoring me. I'm thinking, what is going on? Some good-looking woman done walked in the door. I look, and guess who it was? It was you.
Oh, my goodness.
He was so proud to see you, and I could see it in him. So I know y'all are very, very much in love, and it just it makes my heart feel good. And so I think y'all will be great. Cal's the son of Chris and Holly Lane. Chris Lane being a Bassmaster Pro plus MLF angler, both. Josie is the daughter of Chris and Melissa Clay. Chris is a very renowned young man that's around here that does landscaping work. Cal at one time worked for him, and I don't know if he got fired or not. I've been afraid to ask, because they just come up and they wasn't working together no more, and I didn't say nothing. And then all of a sudden, I guess you made up with him, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay, sir. Okay. So we've covered that part of it. Now, Cal, you had a pretty good first year. Tell us about your first year of out there, because I know you was a little nervous.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So first year, that I actually pursued fishing was 2020. It was my senior year of high school, and I started in the Toyotas, and that was the first tournament that I'd ever fished, a bigger scale tournament by myself. I hadn't really fished any BFLs because I had just turned 18 to where I was able to fish them. And COVID hit, and we got out of school the whole last half of the year. So it allowed me to fish the Central Division Toyotas, and I ended up having a good year and finished 6th in AOI points, and it qualified me for the Invitationals. And then I'll just go ahead and be honest with you, when I got to it was the pro circuit, the tackle warehouse at that time. I think that I thought I was better than I probably was. It got
Why
me.
not?
It got me. It did. And I had 2 terrible years. I didn't do well at all. I wasn't fishing good. I wasn't preparing good. I was because in the Toyotas I showed up and did well, and I was like, well, there's nothing to this. And then once I got into the Invitationals, I just did the same thing, showed up thinking I could, compete, and I got my butt whooped. So over those couple years, I've learned so much I can't even put into words, and it's, it's starting to pay off now to where I've completely changed the way I view fishing, how I prepare, and how I get ready for an event and a tournament. And the time that I spend when I'm not fishing for a tournament, is getting better here. Usually all I did was duck hunt in the wintertime. I duck hunted every day that I could. And actually this past year, I pretty much cut it out. I probably hunted a week and a half out of this last year, and started the season off with a 4th place finish at Rayburn. So, I think it's trending in the right direction. I just got to keep focusing on, the main goal and working hard at it. Because if you don't work hard at it, it's not going to work out. So
That's exactly right. That's a good way to put it. And your self-confidence was way high after Toyotas, right?
Way too high. It never needs to be that again.
Well, that's the only way that you can get humbled down, ain't it?
Yep, that's right. It's a humbling sport for sure.
But you learned a lot during those 2 years.
I did.
And that's what you said, and you've got to learn that, I think, on your own.
100%.
Was you around him during them 2 years?
I think she broke up with me right when I made the Invitationals. Actually.
You cocky little thing. That's what it gets you.
As soon as I the highest of highs, I just qualified out of the Toyotas, and I was just jacked. And then she went to Auburn, and we kind of went separate ways for about a year. And that's probably why the fishing was so bad, honestly. It probably wasn't it was probably, I didn't have her by my side.
So you were sitting there wondering what she was doing in Auburn, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Exactly. I can see that. Yeah. Was you thinking about Cal while you was in Auburn?
Absolutely.
Good answer.
We talked about it, and we thought of each other every single day, but we just weren't together. And then, I guess it was a year and a half ago, we got back together. So we were apart for a year and a half, something like that.
Well, that's good. That probably brought you a lot closer than what you'd think. Some people say, well, you're crazy. If she broke up with me, I'm done with her. But you hang in for what's good, right?
100%.
That sounds good. And that works both ways.
Exactly.
Sure does. Exactly. And we're going to talk about your Rayburn tournament, but that's going to be our next little segment. Is there anything else that you can add to how you got to where you are now?
100% couldn't do it without the Lord. And, I think that's part of why we broke up. I think that there was some things that I needed to work on and she needed to work on. And, he's got a plan for everything, and you just got to follow it and trust it. And it'll take you right where you need to be if you trust in him. So
that's the most full of wisdom statement I've heard today. And I'm 100% with you. And Cal, it humbles me down to hear a young man say that like that, and then the little lady sitting beside your side grinning and looking at you. So there's a lot of trust involved there. We're fixing to go to a break right quick, but guys, we're going to be back here in just a few minutes talking with Cal about how his trip was on Sam Rayburn. It was fantastic. Well, I'm not going to tell you what it was. I'm going to let him tell you, because I got tore up sitting in here. And
we'll be back with more.
Here we
GTO
go. Y'all hang around
after this.
Hey, I'm Micah McCreary,
And I'm Rich Fry, and welcome to Truex Outdoors.
the ultimate outdoor show.
So come tag along with us as we experience thrilling adventures in hunting and fishing.
From the mountains to the rivers, we'll bring you the most action-packed outdoor experiences.
Watch us now on NGBN TV.
Truex Outdoors.
Now back to more with GTO, Good Old Boys.
Okay, guys, we're back here with Josie Clay and Cal Lane. They are sitting here just pretty as pictures. And we've got some thinking to do here as far as listening to Cal tell about his trip at Sam Rayburn. Cal, that's the first rattle of the horn.
It was the first event of the Invitationals this year. Yes, sir.
MLF Invitational.
Correct.
Let's step back a little bit. Tell me how you felt when you got the call to go MLF.
It was dream come true for sure. And you know, it's still not where I want to be done at all.
Right.
There's definitely more that I want to go higher in the league for sure. But you know, it goes back to 2020 through the Toyotas whenever I had qualified for the pro circuit now, or the Invitationals now, goes all the way back to the old FLW tour when Major League Fishing bought when Major League Fishing bought FLW, they changed the name of the old FLW tour to the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit, and that's what I'd qualified for in 2020 through the Toyotas. Now it has changed to the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals. So It's been the same tour in a sense, you know, just different names. So when I had qualified for it back in 2020, it was, you know, the absolute dream come true. Something I was speechless.
Was it a surprise?
It was, you know, it
Who
was
called
incredible. Well, I was actually at the Toyota Series Championship in Lake Cumberland is where I was at, and they had set it on stage. So in the Toyotas in AOI, the top 5 in the points automatically get a ticket to go. And I finished 6th that year. So it's kind of a waiting game, because if someone declines in that top 5, or if somebody's already in, so if they back out or don't want to do it, you know, then they go back to the next angler. So I knew I just needed one guy to, you know, back out, and I didn't know any of the guys at all, and so I wasn't like I could pick up my phone and call and be like, "Hey, are you going? Or are you not going?" to get any clue. So I had no idea, and I was just hoping and praying that, you know, somebody didn't want to do it, and they told me on stage that time at the Toyota Series Championship at Lake Cumberland.
Wow.
So,
and that made you weak kneed, I'm sure.
oh my gosh, it was incredible. It was incredible.
Let's go from Lake Cumberland. Let's go to Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, they say it is. But, hey, take us away with it. Tell us day one.
So that was our first event of the year this year, and in practice, you know, I'd always heard that they catch them pre-spawn schooled up on big crankbaits like they do in the summertime out here, and I'd never experienced it, because out here you don't go throw a 10XD pre-spawn and catch them. They don't get set up like that. But in the summertime, you know, it's exactly how we catch them out here. And I have always heard of it, but had never experienced it. And in practice, I was like, you know, I want to dabble in with it, because the grass just wasn't set up. You know, it just, nothing was feeling right. And I'm like, I'm going to try it. You know, I'm going to go out on a whim and try it. And I'd idled for a couple hours, and I think I found 2 schools and marked them, and I spun around and came back, and my first cast I caught it was like a 9.5, and I'm like, good. And there was like 30 of them under the, you know, they weren't all that big, but there was a giant school there that came up to the trolling motor, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, this is incredible. Said, I know what I'm gonna do. And anyways, I just kept idling, and just found as many places, as many hard spots as I could. The first day of the tournament, I was like, man, I just hope, you know, there's nobody on that spot, because I didn't know if it was a community hole, how many other guys had found it. I was a really late boat number, and I was just like, man, I hope I can get on it. And I rolled up, there was nobody there, and I was like, man, now they just got to still be here. And my first cast, I catch it was an 8-2. And I was like, oh, my gosh. and I threw it in the box, and I caught as many as I could right off the bat because they would disperse in the afternoon. So I caught that one, caught my limit, and had like 21, within the first 30 minutes or so. And that was the first day. It was incredible.
Made your dinner better, didn't it?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, you went home, back to the room. You sat down, you've thought about it, you're tying all your stuff back on, getting ready for the next day, going to do the same thing.
Correct. Going to do the same thing. And she actually has family that lives in Dallas, so she got to ride up with me to that tournament. And I dropped her off with her family, and then they ended up coming down for the weigh-in. So that was better than anything. Getting to have them there, it was awesome experience. And so second day, retie, get ready, and I just hope they're there again. And sure enough, I rolled up and I caught a 7 and a 5 in the first 15 minutes. And then I, filled out my limit to catch, I think I had 22 the next day within the first, 30 to 45 minutes. I had that. And, that tournament, it was good. I was so thankful. It was an amazing event. But it taught me so much about when you're in a position like that, what you need to do to win an event like that. And, as good as a tournament as it was, I would love to go back and redo that, or at least have another opportunity like that again, because I should have made some better decisions after I got that bag, you got to capitalize on the opportunity when you get 22 pounds within the first, 30 minutes. You got to capitalize on that.
That don't happen every day, does it, Cal?
It doesn't.
So now you're sitting with 43 pounds, 2 days, 44 maybe, and I'm tore up. I'm more tore up than you. Everybody here at GTO is watching. Cal's going to win it. Cal's going to win it. He's leading after day 2. So we're all excited for you now, I'm telling you. And calm. He's as calm as a cucumber up there talking to the guy. And I'm going to ask you about that too. Day 3.
Day 3 was, not too nerve-wracking because I was kind of in a position to where I wasn't leading after, Marshall Hughes had 38 pounds. So it kind of put me in a setback of like, okay, I just need to go fishing. Instead of going out there like, oh, I don't need to lose it, I wasn't in a position where I even had to think anything like that. And so day 3, I go out, and I was in the first 15 minutes, I catch an 8-pounder. And I'm like, golly, this is nuts, like this could really happen. And I caught an 8, and then I caught a 5, like a 5.2, and finished out my limit and had 21 pounds again right off the bat. And I kept telling myself, you gotta figure out something else to do if you're gonna want to win this tournament. And unfortunately, I didn't. But I take that as just one of the biggest learning experiences I've ever had in bass fishing.
That's great. You turned a want to be negative into a positive end.
Correct.
And
sure.
That right there is good. You learn every time you go, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Every time that boat hits the water, you're going to learn something.
Exactly. There's no doubt about it.
Good. And what was she telling you?
She was.
Josie, what was you thinking? You're watching all this.
Was so invested, of course. I didn't stop watching my phone the whole entire day, and neither did my grandmother, who I was staying with.
Really?
We were just on our phones like this, just watching the whole time. I was like, Cal, I actually didn't turn it off the entire day. I was so nervous, but I was so excited, and it was fun to be able to.
And y'all went to the weigh-in day 3.
We did. Dallas is like 4 hours from St. Rayburn, so we drove. Me and my aunt and my uncle drove down that Friday for the first weigh-in, and then me and my grandparents drove down that Sunday.
Well,
So
great.
it was
That
great.
sounds like a win. Well, what we're doing is we're fixing to go to another break. Now, y'all, when y'all come back, I have got something I'm going to surprise Cal Lane with. Josie's going to learn a lot about him in his younger years.
Boy, this could be
I
rough.
am so excited. I'm going to have to read it because just bear with me. And when you get to the end of it, you'll see what type of person he really is. And we'll see if Josie's going to divorce him right now. So y'all hang with us, and y'all come back with us.
We'll be back with more GTO Good Old Boys after this.
Hey, I'm Micah McCreary,
And I'm Rich Fry, and welcome to Truex Outdoors.
the ultimate outdoor show.
So come tag along with us as we experience thrilling adventures in hunting and fishing.
From the mountains to the rivers, we'll bring you the most action-packed outdoor experiences.
Watch us now on NGBN TV.
Truex Outdoors.
Now back to more with GTO, Good Old Boys.
Hey guys, we're back here in the studio and we're sitting here looking, and I've got a surprise for these two. We're going to find out whether or not Cal Lane's really getting married. I've got a little thing here I've got to read because I had a person that's very close to me to write this down because she taught him in the 5th grade.
Oh, man.
This is my daughter. You was at the middle school, I guess. Is that right?
Cherokee
Elementary School.
Yes, sir.
And how old was you?
5th grade, so that's 10.
10 or 11?
Would that be 10 years old? 10? Something
Okay.
like that.
So, a bit cocky. But I guess he had a right to be. So I'm going to read what she wrote here, and then I'm going to let Cal talk about it. Okay, Miss Lindsay Bynum is the one that done this. That's my daughter. She's been teaching there for probably 20 years. So it starts off. During my past 20 years of teaching, I've only sent 2 students to the principal's office, and believe it or not, my very first one was the one and only Cal Lane. Cal didn't like being at school very much, but he always worked hard because he knew his family expected it. He comes from a great family with high expectations for their children. And I know this because I've had all 4 Lane children, and each one of them was very, very respectful and hardworking. Like I said, I knew Cal didn't enjoy school, but there was only one thing I knew he enjoyed, and that was football, especially the Florida Gators. The year I taught Cal was the year of the great Tim Tebow. Cal came in every Monday morning with a grin from ear to ear because Tebow had once again led the Gators to another victory. The only drawback to his excitement was that I was still and am still a huge Alabama fan, and I knew Alabama would face Florida in the SEC championship game soon. After discovering I was a huge Bama fan, then I began to see Cal's competitiveness emerge. His competitive attitude began to take over, and we would often exchange words over which team would win the SEC title that particular year. You see, I'm pretty competitive myself, and I certainly didn't enjoy the celebrations I had to endure every Monday morning, but I think Cal lived for those mornings, and especially the ones when he came to school with bragging rights about Florida's victory in the SEC title game. I don't even remember his exact words, but indeed rubbed it in all day long. Finally, I decided to teach him a lesson. I got with my principal, Mr. Reeves, who was also a big Alabama fan. We decided to call him to the office and give him a discipline report for his disrespectful competitiveness, as a joke, of course. Mr. Reeves and I worked out a plan, and towards the end of the class, the principal came over the intercom and said, "Ms. Bynum, I need to see Cal Lane in my office." Of course, the room went wild, and Cal's eyes widened. He slowly made his way out of the classroom and began toward Mr. Reeves' office. You could tell he was nervous, and I just smiled and wished him luck. Long story short, Mr. Reeves got him pretty hard and said the level of competitiveness had gotten the best of him, and his parents would be contacted. After Cal sweated it out for a few minutes, Mr. Reeves gave in and told him that I had put him up to the joke. I'll never forget him re-entering the classroom and being hit with laughter from our class. I told the students what was going on while Cal was gone, and we had the best time getting back at him. Well, Cal, your competitive nature sure did work out for you in a good way. You are going big places in life, and I'm so proud of your hard work and competitive spirit. Thank you for being a hard-working young boy that never gave up on your dreams, and your persistence certainly paid off. She loves you to this day. So that was from Miss Bynum, his 5th grade teacher. It makes me proud to have a daughter that can share something with a 5th grader, and now see him sitting in front of me and his future wife. And I'm telling you, you got a fine young man and you've got a fine young lady. And I wish y'all the best of luck throughout y'all's long life. And I know it's going to be good. Now, tell me what she means to you.
I can't even put it into words.
Just, well,
she means the world to me. She really does. And, you know, I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for her. And I certainly wouldn't be where I'm at in life if it wasn't for her. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for that. And she's made me a lot better person in a lot of ways.
And I know she has.
She really has.
Now, return his favor by telling him what he means to you.
Honestly, he's made me a better person too, in so many ways. I think that is really cool because we've gotten to grow together. Because we were in high school when we first started dating, and we've grown a lot in our relationships with the Lord, and it's just really cool that now we get to get married and see what the Lord does through that. So
he's going to have a lot of fun because we've had a lot of fun with this one right here. What do you think about Miss Bynum?
I really appreciate what she said right there at the end. That means a lot, and I'll forever remember that, and I really appreciate that. And yeah, that story, man, that's a good one. I'll never forget that day either. No, I won't ever forget it. And I think it was a joke, but at the same time, I think like it wasn't a joke.
You thought you'd
I think
figure
it was
your
a
butt
joke,
tore up.
but it was like, hey, like, because I was probably being disrespectful of just coming in there wide open talking about the Florida Gators, and I shouldn't have been. And I think it got back at me because I'm pretty sure Tim Tebow left the SEC championship crying that game.
You reckon so?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it all came back around. But yeah, that's a story I'll never forget.
Well, that's great. Y'all have a great world ahead of y'all. Y'all got it by the hair. Don't turn it loose. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep the Lord in your life. Everything's going to be great, and I know it is. Thank y'all so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it more than you'll ever know, and if we can ever do anything for you, please, our door's open for you, Cal, Josie, and wish you nothing but the best. We love y'all.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. We love y'all too, and if y'all ever need a single thing, y'all know that I'll be here.
Sounds great. Guys, you've heard it first here. Cal Lane is getting married, dadgummit. And so, girls, y'all going to have to leave him alone. So, all's fun today. And thank y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all really enjoyed it and had as much fun as what we did. So, please be back next Tuesday night, 6:30. We'll have something else going on. Watch Facebook. Watch Instagram. We'll give you some hints on what's going on. See y'all then. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We've had a great time, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Give us a shout, come by and see us, and just stop in and say hello. With family and friends, that can make fishing a lot of fun. And just remember, through Jesus Christ, anything's possible. Y'all have a great week, and tune in every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. for the GTO Good Old Boys.